Oh, I can't hear. For some reason, I can't hear. Can you hear me?
Sandy, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I can see you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So let me see if I can figure out.
Let's see if it's on my end. I didn't have this problem earlier.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Yep. Okay. So you can hear us okay?
Yes.
And I'm here with John.
Hi, friend.
So we were just talking through, I'm going to get all this set up, and we never know how many students that we'll have that are able to make it today, but we are going to record this so that we're going to get this out to share with students after it's over.
Okay.
Okay, and then is there anything else that you guys need? Do you want to email me that PowerPoint and I can put it up on the Zoom?
Hey, John, we forgot to get participation sheets electronically for her.
Oh, I printed off about 30 of them.
Okay, good.
Great. Okay.
Awesome handouts for everybody.
I know, oh, with the internet, you know, okay.
Yeah, I got that. You can get online, just download it from American Red Cross.
Oh, are they on the American Red Cross? Okay, yeah. Let's see. Okay.
Is it not cooperating for you, John?
It's too large for me to email, so I'm going to see if I can just find. If I just log in.
That's good to know. We might ought to drop it on a drive just to take with us.
Yeah. All right. Not doing it. Sorry, not good. First night in, so.
He's giving his PowerPoint on the website.
I do need my.
Okay.
I'll put this sign up.
Yeah, y'all put it there. Thank you. Smith. Are you a special ed major? Yeah, what's it?
My first name is Stephanie, but I go by Erica.
Erica. Okay. I'm Ingrid though.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen you sitting back
Yes,
that way.
with some of the things, yeah. What year are you?
I'm a junior.
A
I'm a
junior.
non-traditional student, so I always have to do like
Think about it.
math.
John, do you think I could present it and you just talk?
That might be easier.
Yeah, we can.
I don't know. Let me, where do you have it stashed at?
I just go through the exchange.
What all information do you
Just sign in, just kind of name,
name, date?
yeah, name, date.
Go through the exchange and you do the search, do be Red Cross ready. The presentation. Pop up.
I'm hunting. Hang on. Of course, I have to get logged into this thing.
Yeah. For some reason over here. I can't. Is there no-
Are you today?
Pretty good.
Thank you.
The master's degree stuff, right?
No, I
No.
think, field
The field stuff.
for
Okay.
BSW students.
Yes, I was like trying to remember, like, I know you're coming up the pike for me, but not.
Yes, yes. Have you been thinking about where you might like to do your internship?
I would love to be, I don't know if they'll have that bachelor interns, but my goal is to work at schools. So
Okay.
some sort of education,
Gotcha.
or with teenagers, because high
Yeah.
school would be my, like, the demographic I want.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, a lot of our school placements do just want master's level, but we have a handful.
Okay.
So there's possibility, especially if you're willing to drive to some of the rural
I
counties.
live, well, I live in North Nashville,
North
so,
Nashville, okay.
but that's fine.
Yeah, it's good to go ahead and think about.
Mhm.
And if you happen to know anyone or like if you're
Right.
connected to the school.
Got
Reach out and just like. try to-
I'm trying, John. It's not working for me.
You
Yeah.
mentioned potential paid positions,
Yeah,
like
there
what
are
kind of positions are these?
So most of the ones that we have, they pay internships are through like we have villages, boys and girls
Oh,
club.
cool.
There's one that's macro called Tennessee. So they do a lot of macro work, but it's around children and families.
Okay,
There's a few too that, it's like you can turn into employment based, like even though we may not have that set up, you know, that they may offer you like a position and they're able to kind of take you on as a part-time employee and intern.
right.
Like Nations Ministry Center, if they work with businesses and immigrants. Yeah, they did that this semester with a student. Yeah, so, it's pretty like,
I,
any little bit.
right, and
helps,
I have 3 kids and my husband took a more flexible job
Could you
so
go
that I
back?
could come back
Oh,
to school.
man, yeah.
But it means he's commission only right now,
Okay.
which it's kind of famine or feast. We're in a famine section at the
Oh,
moment
yes.
because he's doing insurance, he's working for the Dept.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
So we've had some really good months, but January, February is not like
The best.
lucrative.
Yeah.
So like anything that could help contribute to the household income,
Okay.
even if it is
Mhm.
not a lot. would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Okay.
But like, I'm actively working on becoming fluent in Spanish, so if I can get
great.
put into a situation where I have to,
Yes.
that's the thing, is like, I probably know more than I'm confident enough to actually try.
Mhm.
But if I was put in a space where I'm like, okay, the only way is for me to
Yeah.
like tap into what I
To
actually
learn,
know and
yeah.
push through the embarrassment.
I had reached out to Conexion Americas that's over in Antioch. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
I know there's a huge Hispanic population in
Yes.
Antioch. I know I'm somewhat familiar with the Hispanic heritage.
okay. They do a lot of great work over there. I don't, yeah, social worker. Hi, thank you for coming. We may have a small group in the classroom.
John, I am not being helpful to you. I'm sorry. I can't get into the exchange.
I got it.
But
Yes,
I finally got in.
the
It's-
likelihood of me
Took me a
having to
while,
use
but-
it would probably be higher there than
Yeah.
elsewhere.
yeah, good. Those are good things to think about already.
That's all I did.
They have a Be Red Cross ready for every single disaster.
Do you,
Okay, so then you can.
So as soon as. If you have. Then I'll be able to speak and let you know what anyone on chat says.
okay. Are you?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, we ready? Yeah, we may just start by getting small. Yeah, and then we're recording it, so we should. Okay, guys, well, welcome to the Red Cross training that we're doing today. I'm Professor Adrian, and we have some participants on Zoom and also in the room. So I'm going to do a quick introduction and turn this over to Mr. Taylor. So today in the classroom, we have Mr. John Taylor, who is a Marine veteran. He's deployed overseas to Iraq in the past, and he is a University of Tennessee graduate. He got his master's in emergency and disaster management from the American Military University. After training Marines for the past 12 years in preparedness courses before they deployed overseas. He has come to join the Red Cross as the disaster program manager for the Heart of Tennessee. And then we have Sandy Hughes, who's joining us via Zoom. She's also going to be helping Mr. Taylor with the presentation today. She's a volunteer with the Red Cross, and she serves in several positions as a volunteer partner. She has helped with the regional government operations lead, the regional recovery lead, and Sandy has been a volunteer with the Red Cross for several years. She works as a senior paralegal at Nissan North America in Franklin, Tennessee. Sandy is a native Tennessean and Lipscomb University graduate, and currently she lives here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Sandy is very driven to give her time to the Red Cross because she experienced a house fire over 20 years ago. This is a way that she can pay it forward and be involved in the humanitarian mission of the Red Cross. And I'd also like to add that one of our BSW students, Mr. Victoria Yancey, brought us this connection with Ms. Hughes. So we're very grateful for him. He was not able to be here today. He had another meeting to attend, but we're just grateful that he was able to bring us this partnership, and we look forward to growing it. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here. Yeah, so like I said, I've been here for Red Cross now for about 2 months. So I haven't had as much experience with Red Cross as I had with the Marine Corps and dealing with theirs, but really a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about, we call it the Red Cross. And survey people all over the country, and really only about 45% of countries that are actually prepared for really any kind of disaster. What Sandy and I do a lot within the Heart of Tennessee, and the Heart of Tennessee, if you're not familiar, it's just kind of how we broke up Tennessee for counties. I'm responsible for 10 of those counties, starting here with Rutherford County, right over to Warren County. We have to have as our most northern, and then it's all the way down to Franklin and Wilson counties. So anytime there's a home fire, so anytime there's a home fire, we're always trying to get volunteers there to help. With these home fires, they can range from apartment complexes to multifamily being affected to home. We've gone to last month to somebody who was living in an RV camper. We went out there to try to help out. So what Be Red Cross Ready is, it's a way to start planning how we can kind of prepare ourselves. If a fire does happen, how are we going to go? So it's all about protecting ourselves, protecting our family, and our loved ones. We got different scenarios. So when it comes to fires, about 46% simply cooking. Being in the kitchen, or actually probably not being in the kitchen while you're trying to cook something, and all of a sudden you've got some kind of fire, whether it's a grease fire, maybe a napkin or something too close to a burn catches on fire. And that results in about 15% of that. The other one is really improper use of appliances and space heaters, overloading circuits or sockets with too many extension cords and stuff like that. And it really, that's where our largest amount of deaths come from, 35% of fire fatalities occur from improper use of and
Creative heating methods.
yeah, yes. I've not been in a dorm style setting before. But we can bring forward I'm not having hot plates in your room for these reasons. Right? They can trust you with a weapon, but with cooking, you guys are a little bit more cautious. Right? The other big one for fire deaths is actually smoking. Whether it's not putting out the ash, your cigarette or your cigar fully, and it maybe rolling off of where you got it sitting all the way up.
How is it that the cigarettes are only 5% of the fires, but they're 22% of the deaths? Like, are there more significant fires from cigarettes than other things?
A lot of times it's people that from those fire deaths from smoking, a lot of them while smoking. So probably intoxicated or on something and that, so they just don't know the fire.
And even sometimes those fatalities, the houses aren't destroyed. You know, they fall asleep in their chair, drinking or smoking, or like John said, with the oxygen. And it may only be a portion of that house that's destroyed and not the entire house.
Fortunately, had a smoking fatality because they were smoking on oxygen. Not too long ago. So that's, with that, you're talking more explosion, but there's still a good bit of fire. You see, not as many fires, but a lot more fatalities from that. Highly recommend it. You smoke, good, smoke outside. If you are smoking inside, add a little bit of water into your ashtray so that when you put out your cigarette or your cigar or pipe or whatever, it's fully extinguished. Right, so again, there are little things that we can do to kind of prevent some. So ways to reduce your fire risk in your home. Right, so when you are cooking, stay in the kitchen. I know it can be tough if you got kids and toddlers running around, but they try to get them occupied some other way or keep them kind of closer where you can keep an eye on why you're cooking as well. Never leave anything unattended, and make sure you turn off your stoves. Sometimes I actually got myself doing this once. I turned my burner down low, and it was a gas stove. I turned it down real low, took the plate off, and had dinner, came back, like, gosh, I left the light on. Luckily, my wife and I was really paranoid about what we keep around our stove, so there's nothing flammable around it. But, yeah, just make sure that you turn off that burner. If you have the electric, remember, they're still hot, even though you turned it off, they stay hot for a while, so make sure you keep everything away from that stuff. To keep an eye on when you fry. If you grill, right, a lot of fires do start when people grilling too close to the home. A lot of times we're grilling stuff like burgers and steaks, something that's going to have a lot more juices and fats and grease that may kind of catch a fire. So make sure you have your grill a ways away and close like the deep fried turkey. Very, very, very careful of that. No else is that's delicious, but I've looked at it before. And that's actually, especially around Thanksgiving, that's pretty much the number one fire around Thanksgiving time. Turkey's fully thawed out before you even get that. Just put it in there. When we talk about the electrical appliances, 35% of the fatalities come from this, and it's just from not using it properly. Most outlets nowadays, from when it comes to safety standards for construction, they're usually not right underneath the windows anymore. Right? They're kind of off to the side a little ways. So you're going to put curtains up and have them hanging. Try to make sure that they're not hanging over top of the plugs. Really, really want that. Maybe get those little plastic safety plugs to put in there, right? So that you got the younger kids probably already have those around the house anyway, but that's a great idea, right? Avoid overloading your outlets as well. Try to push out there. Power clipper, my desk for work is like my laptop, phone charger, printers, scanners, stuff like that. But really, it's best to plug stuff like that, especially appliances straight into the wall outlet. Definitely try to avoid using those extension cords. They're really only for kind of short-term use, not meant to be like your entire house powering up your house. If you need those extra outlets, deal with a trained electrician, have them come in and actually wire it out the problem. Watching the DIY shit, kind of tearing down houses. Probably seen some of those instances where they have those extension cords even hidden behind the wall. Great. Definitely try to stay with it. I talked about the smoking really already, right? So really with the ashtray, make sure you do smoke inside, and we do recommend doing it outside. Definitely don't do it when you're in bed and when you're drowsy. That's really where a lot of fatalities come from. do that all the time in the house. And it really irritated us a lot. So we got the bid on. All the cigarette notch, do your best to really make sure they do have to have it. They don't just go up and fire, they actually explode. That's not really that close to that tank. So yeah, just keep it extinguish them properly. All right. And keep the matching wires. What's your favorite curtains and favorite curtains and how the house, right? So watch out where you keep them and store all that type of stuff. All right. Smoke alarms. This is a huge lifesaver. And Sandy might have the actual number in front of you, but it's around in the past year over 1,000 lives were saved just from smoke alarms alone. People having it in their house. I don't want a fire to go on in anybody's home, but unfortunately, Dan and I deal with a lot of them a year. So really, we even have events where we go out and actually install smoke alarms. We're going up to Laverne this weekend to install smoke alarms throughout the area. Spanish, we hear the Spanish community up there that we could use some help with. Email me, call, or text me.
A very important thing about smoke alarms is do not think just because you have a smoke alarm in your house that your house is protected. When we do an install, we install one in every place that is considered a bedroom. You know, I have to say considered a bedroom because sometimes that may be a living room or I've even been in houses with large closets that were converted to a bedroom. Anywhere that we see is a sleeping space, we put an alarm in there, and then we'll put one in the common areas like a playroom or, you know, the living room.
Definitely. We usually probably on average, but now there's 3, if not more, depending on the size of the home, amount of bedrooms, and the amount of space you have. We also say replace them every 10 years. Things do not last forever. Testing it monthly. If it is going off, then you do change out the batteries and it's still going. It's probably not because of the smoke, it's probably because the smoke alarm is actually out of date. That is one way to kind of tell, and I definitely replace it. But if you're doing it every 10 years,
That's chilling, just making bacon.
Most of them do actually have a hush. It's usually right by the bed. Yeah, I know. With that, what we would recommend is just try to move it maybe a little bit further away from where you're cooking, right? Don't turn it off. Don't get rid of it because it can save lives. Especially if not all your smoke alarms are hooked up together, which we do recommend. So one goes, they all go kind of thing. But or if it is, I know that my brother, he actually removed it and it's not there. I'm like, well, where is it? He's like, that's not a good thing. It's off. I'm like, dude, move a little bit further away from your kitchen. He has like more of a full time stuff house anyway. So it won't be right there. Yeah, we definitely don't do that. We do also have stuff for individuals that might be a little bit harder of hearing, deaf. So we do have for the bedroom, we have one for the bedroom. So just that, shape the bed. We can also ones that have more like a strobing light. With, for those that might hear. And they also have ones that the decibel is a little bit different. I have a harder time hearing certain decibel levels. They have some that can kind of help out with that. These are all important. All right, so what are we doing with the fire? Obviously, as it says up top there, get out and stay up. Okay. Get out of that fire, you gotta just stay out of there. Right? A house can be literally both in flames in less than 2 minutes. So we really want us to have a good solid drill where we can escape our dwelling, wherever we're staying at, right? Whether it's the dorm, whether it's an apartment complex, single family home, we want to come up with a plan on how we can get safely out. Some of those kind of smaller details I'll have to think about while you're kind of coming up with a plan. But yeah, if there's smoke, get low. Right, then that's smoke, we can clearly get out of the area. Right, it's a little easier to see. And you've all probably seen smoke coming at us, right? From that campfire, and that smoke comes toward you, it's hard to see, right? So get down, get low, and make your way out. Once you're out, and you're in a safe area, call 911. Don't assume somebody's calling for you. Right? So when you get out, you don't get out with your phone, don't asking for it. So if you don't get out with your phone, hopefully get to a neighbor's house. We're good again. All right. All right. So moving a little towards our state plan route. All right. When you're looking at wherever you live, whatever your setup is, you really want to plan for 2 routes. Because what happens if the fire is blocking the first route? We want to have a secondary means to escape. Sometimes that just means one of them will be a win. It's a little more difficult depending on where you're at. You are up on like 3rd, 4th, 5th floor. It does get a little bit more difficult. I understand. I talked a little bit about how to signal that there. Yeah, windows and doors, those are typically open easy. Driving through here at campus and some of them don't very even open. So they kind of have to get a little creative sometimes on how we can. Big thing to remember though when it comes to those escape plans, if you are on the 2nd floor, they do have ladders that can really kind of fold up. And they actually will hook on to your window so you can kind of get down. And usually, when you are planning your escape routes, make sure they're always clutter free. You're going to be kind of in a hurry. That's what you want to be doing is picking over kids' toys and whatever else, grocery bags, and if you are in an apartment complex, and you see somebody blocking those, you should say something about that. Right? Because it's important that not only on the inside, but the outside of the house is clear, right? Once you open those doors, you don't want to open the first wall, and then you know. We want to make sure we plan it out, start to walk them yourself a few times, so that you can kind of get used to how you're going to get out of that situation. Once you do get out, you want to get a safe distance away from or there, wherever we're at, whatever kind of building situation we're in. Yeah, a family, especially, you want to have that as a fixed location. If your kids get out before you, you're not wanting to run around like those kids. We want them to know there's a fire, those alarms go off. We want to get to our neighbor's house. We want to get to this tree. We want to get to this intersection. It's something that's pretty visible and easy to identify once you're outside, especially at night. You kind of live in more of a rural area, right? You don't necessarily have street lights out there to say, hey, come over here, right? So you want to make sure it's something that you and your kids really know, so once you do get out, you can, a lot of times it's in front of the home, and that also because the fire department shows up, or it usually comes in front of your house anyway, right? So you want to go through the cases and have the medical assistance as well. Want to make sure that you know where it's at, safe distance away, and you can try. I'm out of the camera, my phones. So we kind of talked about kids already a little bit, right? Some of us might have kids, you may be living with an elderly parent, okay, or your grandma, who may not be able to get out very easily and needs assistance. So you want to make sure you assign primary individual who's going to help that person or that child that needs that assistance to get out, but also assign a secondary. Fire starts while we're you know, you want to make sure that somebody else knows, okay, hey, grandma's gonna need help, so I'm gonna have to be the one now to get out there and help grandma get out safe. If you have pets, right, you practice kind of doing the drill with the pets as well. Pets usually are the first out of the house. They kind of understand danger, they typically find a way out. Dogs, they might need a little bit more help getting out of the house sometimes. So just again, practice it. All right, kind of example we have a 2-year-old son, 5 system back away. So here we've got mom or dad, doesn't matter. Right? Just a matter of son, mom as being the primary, and then dad being the secondary person. However you want to label that, whatever works really for you. Right. There's this link on the here. If you go on, little drills and tasks. Okay. Practice your own fire escape plan at least twice a year. Usually when you rescind clocks, right? Fall back. That's usually a good time to practice these things. Not a holiday, right? Holidays are probably the worst time to try to practice. You know, you want to enjoy, you want to celebrate, have fun with family and friends. So this could be a good time, just every year, to say, it's a clock back into a practice. One of the projects on the but it's bad for here as well. So that was a good day, good time, just you know, like that. So might as well add a little. Not a good time. So prepare your children to have them as well. Don't understand the dangers of the fire. Okay. When you test your smoke alarm out there, so that you can know what that sounds like. Some children do have a hard time kind of hearing that as well with these smoke alarms. So again, actually having it go off will help you understand will they hear it or not. Smoke alarm, direct cross, we can do that smoke alarm. We'll get that. Always ask if you need. More than gracious, they get you any of those if you need. Make sure you know how to use those escape ladders, how to use the kind of plans you need to make sure that the children understand how, you know, why you're meeting there. I'm just run off to your friend's house. They want to make sure that they're there first, right? And then if they're okay. And then make sure children know how to call 911 from the fifth location, what to say, right? And they know your address so that they know, where to get the fire.
So you mentioned that you guys can provide those like the checkers. And I'm thinking if students are serving clients in the community, that they may be able to just ensure that clients understand that they can get those through the Red Cross. Especially
Sure. Yeah, if they're already working with them, yeah, that would be great. I mean, I'm really the only Red Cross employee for the 10 states. I rely on all my volunteers, but even with my volunteers, we're not everywhere. We can't do everywhere. So by all means, if you know somebody who needs the bed shaker, needs smoke alarm, let us know. I'll get all shut on my cars, so either you call, email me, text me. Try to do that.
And you all help them install it as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, we'll help install it, and we'll install ourselves actually, and we can go over kind of how it works, how to test it,
John, they can call the local number or they can call the 1-800 number and it gets filtered down to our chapter.
Yes, closed room, right? It's got inside of the building, smoke coming in. 1, 2, 3. Look for smoke, feel the door, if it's hot, then that's where we get into how do we signal from that closed room. Because if that door is hot, I mean, the fire is probably right outside the door and you don't want to be involved with that. Okay? Just make sure that we are, you're able to evacuate through your secondary route, Right. You can't try to seal up the door as best you can, block your air vents, because the way smoke's gonna get in there, then call 911. Help from that. Yeah, we prepare to take action. Make that home fire plan, escape plan, test your smoke alarms every month, and then practice. It'll take less than 2 minutes for that entire house to be involved. So we want to practice and time ourselves up to it. We did also. Not all the family members know you're running the drill too, because they're already kind of prepared. Make sure we practice this. Practice, practice, practice. We do have emergency apps that are free to download. Fire, earthquake, here. There are apps on that you can download from your iPhone or you go to a different state, you can reprogram it and you can warning where you're at. Go for 50-mile radius, 100-mile radius. The last month when we had those tornado warnings, the ones that actually had still a good way to know that.
I can tell you that living in Tennessee, this app will go off before the news channel goes off. When it's giving warning that tornadoes are coming or that it's flooding. I get an alert from the Red Cross app quicker than I do from the medias that you sign up to be included in.
You can narrow yours down to more just where you're at. You could like cover Fulton County, but that kind of a wide berth area, because they got to pay attention to what's happening down in Franklin, Lincoln, just as much as here in Rutherford County. So, well, sometimes, especially there's mine was going off to Alabama. But they are great apps to have. And I really do encourage you to go download the especially for kind of seasonal weather. Great, right? So beautiful day to live in one state or you say it. Any questions on home fire? Anything in the chat? Yep, you're good at the chat. Okay. And just because we do live in Tennessee, right? That tornadoes hit, the west side of the state, Kentucky. Sandy, she works at FEMA as one of her jobs and positions, so she's always, pretty much always in Nashville. And she's present almost more time there than she does down here. Because of some of these disasters that we've been dealing with over the years. And again, tornadoes are one of them. So we just want to make sure we're prepared for all scenarios. Fires, like I said, that's what Dan and I deal with almost on a daily basis. We had a phone call about one already this morning. So it's slowly pushing in the morning dealing with it. We're here for tornadoes is something else that really threatens the area, and it could threaten a large swath of area real quick. One that happened in December, in 3 states. It can cover larger areas. Each year, it's about 1,200 tornadoes. Every state has dealt with a tornado except for the state of Alaska. Every other state has had some type of a tornado situation. There's over 1,500 injuries, 60 deaths, and over $400 million of damage. And that's each year. And actually, that number, the cost of damage, keep going up every single more and more costs. So again, we want to make sure we're doing everything to help protect ourselves and our families. Understand tornadoes, really call them there that are violent rotating. Usually you go from the extreme heat to the cold. That temperature when we get those high and lows kind of starting to mix and form. Typically for us, for where we're at, we're going to see it starting more down south and kind of come up. It does kind of change throughout the years. and coming up in the summer, and sending it correctly, it should start, we'll be seeing more coming from the south.
They either come from they come from Alabama up through our state, or they come from Memphis and kind of across, which is what the quad state tornado did. That one was on most tornadoes that you think about are only on the ground for short times, or they hop. But that tornado was on the ground going through 4 states for 232 miles. So that's one of the longest tornadoes that we've had in history here.
And this thing is going to, these things help projectiles. I mean, they just throw it at you. Not always the tornado itself that kills people. Sometimes it's just that flying debris. Also injure and kill people, so you got to be careful of that. Sometimes there'll also be hail and heavy rain along with it. Flash flood. That was one of our concerns. Public counties, a lot of flash flooding. Don't really get too much here in Murfreesboro as far as flooding. You get some in some areas, especially our lower lying areas. So there you can kind of see where the highlight area, it's kind of where we can start to see that tornado forming with that the high and the lows kind of coming in. Peak activity will be March through July. So we're in March through July. And we're looking between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. Doesn't mean that they can't happen earlier in the day or later at night, but that's just kind of that typical window that we're usually very cautious of. I admit I try to read the chapter and get home before those times if I can. Not worried about it. When we are kind of starting to worry about it, just so that I can pretty much make my house at this point. So it's so got your tornado watches and your tornado warnings. Okay, so the watches is possible. Nowhere you will take shelter when you do the watches. Safety programs. We'll talk about kind of shelter, good sheltering at that point. Warning, and it's happening right now. So here at MTSU, you should hit the sirens. But if you're out kind of in the country area, you might not hit the sirens out there. But that's also where those apps can come in. Apps and Red Cross for tornadoes, especially really come in some of those areas where you aren't want to stick with the sirens. So, sometimes minutes, sometimes seconds to get that shelter. All right. Planning preparation. For your kids, whistle, flashlights, right? Reason for the whistle is if you're inside of the structure and it's locked, you can't get out, you can at least use that. The whistle's gonna be a lot better than trying to yell for help a lot. The whistle also travel further than you should. Shelter inside. Sometimes we try to get to the center of the house, right, to a window that's room if we can. What happens is that it's locked and getting out. So having that whistle, flashlight, any power outage, 9 p.m. Right, it's already gotten dark, so having that flashlight to help save the search, right? Tailor your plan for where you're at. You're at campus, I'm sure you have stairwells that are probably tornado shelters, right? You have probably designated building locations for that. Just know where they're at, especially during this time of year. You should understand where the shelters are at. And educate your household. You don't know what you don't know. The more we know about these different dangers, these different disasters that are in our area, the better. Especially when you get the warning, stay informed. Listen for updates, special instructions. Right? Watch TV, get it on the radios, right? And protect yourself and your families.
Did you mention going to the most interior part of your house?
Yeah, so typically that's where you want to go. Most interior, ideally a windowless room as well. And flying debris, it's going to go through those windows. So you want to be somewhere in the interior. A lot of people usually it's either like a bathroom or a closet. It's kind of depending on your house and the way it's been built.
yeah. Identify those safe shelters from at your home, your high rise, okay, through the interior. And if you're in a mobile home, you want to really do a sturdy building, so maybe a community shelter in the area, but never stay inside of a manufactured home or mobile home. There's not structurally sound to stand on to. Those are the areas that have the most devastation. When it watches this, you check your kit. Prepare your shelter quickly. I haven't actually moved into my house yet, but when I do, I've already got my kit and I'm going to put it, we're just going to into our closet. That's where we're going to shelter. And I've already got a little bit of supplies in there, a little kit for that, and that's where it's going to be. So if it's in a bathroom and you don't really have the storage, just make sure it's somewhere handy where you can grab it. Once you hear that watch is issued, I want to start moving some of the supplies into your shelter there. You can monitor the news for those updates. You see the signs of a tornado, don't wait for a warning. Once you see that sign, just you want to get into shelter immediately. Okay, that's kind of where that app does help out a lot. Yeah. For the warning, you shelter immediately. Go to the interior room on the lowest level. Avoid windows, avoid large rooms, and wax fan repairs. Can't quickly walk to a shelter immediately, drive to the closest shelter. And that might be a community center, or it could be potentially a government building. Here at MTSU, you've got plenty of shelters where it's designated. So just again, make sure you're aware of where those are at, especially when that warning is issued. If you're driving, pull over and park, avoid bridges and overpasses. Keep your seatbelt on and engine running. All right. Put your head below the window. Flying debris to go right through that windshield, so you don't keep your head below the window. Cover your head with your hands as well. And protect your head area. A lot of trauma comes from this kind of injuries. I don't expect everybody to have a hard hat. Right, do your best, keep your head down below that window. Cover it, right? After a tornado, expect more rain and wind. So be cautious when driving and walking. Take care of yourself, your house, and your pets. Monitor local news, and if you have one with NOAA radios, monitor those as well. Keep away from any down power lines or loose power lines. Tornado comes through, it's really going to do a lot of havoc and damage, especially to power lines and trees. So if you are out and about, try to wear some protective clothing, gear, so try not to walk around with flip-flops. Right? You can get you a good pair of shoes or boots. Use a flashlight only, no open flames. Don't know if there's any gas lines on that structure in your home or nearby homes, right? So no open flames. Flashlight. Leave immediately if you smell gas. You know where gas shut off is, and shut off break, it's still on the air. That gas is still kind of built up. Take pictures, save all receipts. Definitely great apps to have. Preparing your home, this is something kind of do yearly, not just near the warning. Too late, but keep the area outside your home clean. Right? Keep that brush and debris away. That's less projectiles that could potentially do that damage to your home. Consider storm shutters too. And close it out and protect them like glass. Go to a contractor and find out ways you can reinforce your home. Buy all this elaborate stuff. I know you can actually go buy a tornado shelter. They'll come in and build a very solid structured area for you to go in. I think I saw one where they'll come in, dig in your garage, and they'll actually drop this big metal box basically into your garage for you. You don't have to go to the street. Have a good plan, right? And be prepared for starting the watches and the warnings.
was. And really, the Red Cross is, it's people like Sandy and all my volunteers that really make the Red Cross. The Red Cross is the largest volunteer organization in the country, and we could not do what we do without them. Really, you work at a community level, and that's something that we really focus in on. And I know Sandy's got stuff that she wants to talk about from some of the stuff that we do with these fires and how we help them in that long-term recovery. So, Sandy?
Thank you. One of the, like you said, I do volunteer, and volunteering is one of those things where you can give us a little bit of your time or you can give a lot of time. There's always places that we can find to slip you in and make you, feel rewarded, or if it's just you earning your community service hours, we welcome signing those papers for you to earn your community service hours. We do, the smoke alarm installs are a big touch we do out in the communities, and we try to do those in all 10 of our counties. We also have people that go and respond to the fires. So if that's something that anyone might be interested in, we have duty officers and they call us, and you're that actual face-to-face with that person when they're on their darkest day at the moment. When they've just lost everything, sometimes you're that shoulder for them to lean on. Sometimes they need a hug. And then we open cases and we give them financial assistance. And we'll give them a blanket, water, different things of that nature as well to help when they're right there on the scene. And then we move into what is recovery, which is one of the things that I oversee. And we have actually had a few of the MTSU students work with us in recovery. And recovery really lets you get your feet wet in learning what it is to be a caseworker. So after a fire, you have 72 hours to make that first contact with them, and you help guide them through their long-term recovery. Did they have an immediate need of medicine or durable medical equipment? Let us know. If you're a caseworker, you let me know, and then we make sure that health services steps in, because there's so much to that package of us being on the fire that night, because we do health services, we do mental health. And then it's like I said, we're that recovery. So we will stay with a person for up to 45 days after their fire, trying to get them into local resources in the community and trying to help them focus on here's where I'm going to be and how am I going to get there. John, anything that you can think of? That's kind of recovery in a bucket. But if we never wish disasters upon us, but I have spent more time deployed in disasters since 2020, the tornadoes that went through Putnam, than I could have ever imagined. And that is always an opportunity where we're saying, hey, we need somebody. And it may be you going along and passing out what we call disaster emergency supplies. You're passing out tarps for people to cover what they have left of their house. You're passing out flood cleanup kits where the water has rose and flooded their homes. So we always need just anybody that's willing to step in with us and help pass those along, passing meals out of our emergency response vehicles. So we'll do mobile feeding. All of those things are community outreach that you can get involved when there's any form of a disaster around. And unfortunately, we've had far more of them than we need in our state.
If you don't want to do the long deployment, there's stuff that we do here every single day, and you could always use volunteers to help with Danny's got a huge caseload of that always in talk. And we've got even other counties or other groups, regions within Tennessee. We can always bring in their casework and they can take a little bit off of their plate, because we do lots, and I think volunteer as much or as well as your time as you can. I really appreciate any help, even if it's just simply going and talking to your friends and neighbors and prepare for disaster as well. Just fun. Spreading the word.
You do like trainings for if crisis happens, like, so I'm originally from Florida, so hurricanes are like You know, you just learn about that every day. And we had Francis and Jean hit us back to back to my junior high school and peeled back one of the high school gyms like a sardine can. And so like, I've always wanted to be one of the boots on the ground type of person, like when the earthquake in Haiti happened, the hurricane hit Puerto Rico. So do you do trainings for the more larger things like that? And then also like we had, you know, the flood here, the tornadoes here, obviously there's been a lot of stuff going on here too.
So, yeah.
We do event-based training when there's a hurricane or when there's tornadoes. We'll step out and we teach you what you need to know in that moment. If you're not someone that's a long time volunteer, we teach you the training that you need to know exactly what you're going to do. I can say that out of anything I've ever been involved in, Red Cross never sends you unprepared. We invest a lot of time in training people.
Did a massacre boot camp last weekend. Actually, the 19th, we're gonna be back there at MTSU doing another sheltering deal at the rec center. So we do, when we can, we do the training for sure. And we've got not only in-person stuff, there's also stuff, classes online that people can take as well. So especially in county, so sometimes it's hard for my volunteers down in Franklin County to come all the way up here for training. So we do stuff like that. We do the boot camp I did was 2 days of virtual and 1 day of person too. So we definitely make sure that our volunteers are prepared. We want to help, and it's easier to help and good to do.
So my end goal for career isn't necessarily disaster relief, but I would really like to be able to pivot to help if it needed.
Sandy's going to say 95 now, and she got it at 95 now too. So yeah, it's definitely really appreciated. Anytime, anything you can do.
I was gonna say, I'd love to have a, one-on-one conversation with you at some point. I can, really dig a little deeper into the details of the different things you could do.
Did you say you were in Nashville? Is that what you said? Oh, Murfreesboro.
I live in Murfreesboro. I work in Franklin. Normally I'm 100% virtual at home, but this week I had an attorney that was sick. So I've been having to cover in the office this week.
Okay. Well, Franklin's not far, so we could always meet there somewhere.
We've discussed having one of our classes actually go through and volunteer and do the case management piece of this. So what would the training for that entail? If we wanted a whole class to have the experience of this casework, case management experience where they follow a family for 45 days, what would the training specifically entail? And do they get a certificate of completion, or what would that look like?
So the start of the training is all online. I believe it's about 6 classes. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. But I believe it's about 6 classes that you take online. You can self-pace. None of them are more than an hour and 15 at length. And I want to say about 6 hours, you'd be through the whole training, but it's kind of hard to sit and do them all just back to back.
Yeah.
And then you get one-on-one training with me because y'all are in our area. So I teach you how to actually, what you've learned, I teach you where that's at on our application and how you fill in different information, help mentor you on that first phone conversation that you have with a client. And then after that, we kind of turn you loose and you could do it as long as you want to, but I'm always here to answer your questions. The caseworkers call me or text me all the time. Do you agree with me giving supplemental assistance to this person? I'm stumped. I can't find a resource for someone. So then I start digging around, seeing what resources that I can find, and sometimes tapping into that state seat that I have and asking them, what can we do to help this person? I find casework very rewarding, because you really are helping that person that feels like they've just lost everything and they have no hope. You being that voice on the other end of the conversations with them, you're helping them build back hope and helping them find a way. And we've had several students that I have very much enjoyed working with ended up being able to write letters of recommendation, and 2 of them have been hired after I wrote letters of recommendation and then did a phone interview for them. So I would welcome anybody that wants to step into casework, or for us to have deeper conversations as to how we could roll it into your curriculum even.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do, is have a conversation with you as to how we can roll it into the curriculum. Because we need to know the specific 6 trainings that they go through online, have that in as part of the classroom assignments. And then at some point, they do the 45-day follow-up. So are you the person that we would set that up with?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. Because disaster preparedness is becoming a really important piece in social work. So I think this would serve 2 purposes. It would help our students get some hands-on case management experience, as well as help them to understand disaster preparedness as an area of focus in social work.
And you're so right that it is becoming that, plus long-term recovery. There is a group called UMCOR that they are taking on owning long-term recovery in our state, and not just our state, they also do Kentucky, because Red Cross is immediate assistance. And so sometimes we can't get you to where you need to be because we are an immediate assistance, but then you are starting to have these long-term recovery groups that are forming. And a lot of those people are social workers that are working in that long-term recovery, and they will stay with them, until they're completely recovered. This group has helped people go through construction and finding them grants to get homes rebuilt in Putnam County and Wilson County. And they will do the same thing with the ones in Tennessee that have been through the disaster. And they're also taking on Mayfield in that. So it is a huge need for people to learn what disaster is and how do you help people, and the difference between immediate and long-term.
Yes, yes.
Sandy kind of has to, she does the event all that, she does the immediate, she'll be there as myself, and then the casework side, so she sees from start to finish, close to finish as we can get. Always can use some help, and we definitely would love to work with you as far as kind of setting something like that up. And I have talked to my manager as well. People who might be interested, we also look at what you're going to do. Right across.
That's fantastic.
This is our person right
Yes.
here.
Yeah, so I can get you in touch with Gina Bailey. She's
Do you all have social workers on staff in the, I know that, I feel like I remember there was one in the Nashville office, but I wasn't sure if there was one in the Rutherford.
We don't
I
have-
couldn't hear a question.
Yes, she can
Okay,
ask.
sorry.
She was asking if the Red Cross has currently social workers on staff.
We do not have social workers. We have just the caseworkers that are trained. We do have people that work in mental health, and they have to have a lot more training because that's our counseling side. So they have to have a lot more than just being a caseworker. And some of those do have social degrees. Some of those are retired psychiatrists, but we never like to let people think that's what they're talking to. We just want them, hey, do you feel like you need to have a conversation with someone? So we always refer to them just as counseling, but we do have people with social service degrees that are involved in the DMH side.
A lot of people that behind the scenes that are definitely helping us out. Super appreciate it. I can't do my job without feel like Sandy and the rest of the volunteers. They put in miles. Some cases. So, fortunately.
Well, we just, Well, we just want to thank you both, Sandy and John, for joining us today. This is really informative, and we have this recorded, so we'll make sure to share this with all of our other students. And like Dr. McElderry mentioned, we look forward to just exploring, maybe building and growing this partnership so that we can get more students engaged with this work. All right, thank
Sounds
you.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.